Ah, the star of the show.
He wanted to see Uncle Earl.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for South Jersey's.
Recording?
We are recording. Yep. This is South Jersey's favorite sports podcast over here. And it looks like we have a special guest audience member on the other side of the camera over there. Is that Yeah, there he
Hello!
is. What's going on, homie? All 6'5" of Logan Keith in the background.
And just like that, he's gone.
And he's gone. But as always, here weekly to talk some Philadelphia Eagles, some sports talk. My man, the Mayhem, Dom Melchior. Dom, give me the good stuff, brother. How we feeling?
We're feeling we're a little angry. Mainly because I was right. I was spot on about the Eagles, and this being one of those games where it was just going to piss you off. And it did. But I don't blame the players for this one.
You don't blame the players. Okay.
No. And I'm also pissed off that my fantasy football team keeps losing, even though I'm scoring high points every week.
That usually happens with you. You're a very high scoring team, but everybody gets up to play the Mayhem.
Yeah, listen, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We got a lot of football talk to get into.
You got to make the playoffs, though. Dangerous once you get in.
It's the New York Mets theory, Dom. Right? Just get into the playoffs and get hot.
Yep, that's right.
A little talking baseball from the metrics right there. You were bringing all the college talk yesterday. I feel like I got to at least step up my game.
I watched the spread of college yesterday. I watched Tulsa versus. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, don't get me started because I loved Tulsa yesterday. It was the wrong side, but
yeah,
that's not good.
I watched Tulsa King. That's what it was. The show Tulsa King, the Fighting Sly Stallones.
We got a bunch to get into today. I would be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to wrap up the baseball season. The Dodgers take home the World Series over the New York Yankees. Yankees get a game on them, but Dodgers appear to be a little bit too much, taking the series 4-1. You were on board with the Dodgers. You were pro Dodgers because of your New York sports hatred.
Yeah.
Anything from the series that, like, maybe some takeaways, how this could possibly apply to your Phillies next season, some offseason moves you're looking to make, or where do you stand at the end of this arduous season?
SOTO, Juan Soto, come to play in Philly, bro.
Can they afford him, Dom?
Listen, it ain't my money. Ain't my money. And if the Yankees can afford him, then there's usually only 7 to 8 teams that can afford a guy like Juan Soto. Dodgers won't need him. The Padres won't need him. Yankees clearly need him. The Braves don't need him. The Cubs need him. The Phillies need him. The Red Sox could use him, but I think the Red Sox are having like a cheap youth movement at the moment.
A little Moneyball action.
Yeah, I mean they got a bunch of good players and they're cheap, aside from Devers. But
how in your opinion does Soto make the Phillies better?
I mean, he adds an outfield pop that you just don't have outside of Castellanos. And I mean, remember when we were growing up and we were watching MLB, and it seemed like every good team had outfielders that mashed, right? I mean, like now it's like if you have one outfielder that hits, you're like, oh yeah, like what happened?
Yeah, that is very surprising. You're looking for. I was going to say you're looking for Albert Bell just to run somebody over and hit 50 home runs.
And the analytics are saying like, oh, like a guy like what's his name in center field for the Phillies?
You give me Marshy.
Well, we'll say Marsh. And like, oh, the analytics for Marsh is like he saves runs. I'm like, I don't give a shit if he saves runs. You think Manny Ramirez was out there saving runs in left field? No, he was hitting 140 of them in. Give me fat guys that play the outfield and you just hit balls that are catch balls that are hit to them, but then drive in 130 runs a year. Like I couldn't care less about how the analytics say like how good of an outfielder Rojas or Marsh is. Give me a guy that can mash, and Soto can mash.
Yeah, because if Cecil Fielder's out there trying to track down fly balls, he's probably putting 130. The ratio, he's bringing a lot more guys than he is losing runs.
I think this is where the nerds got it wrong. The Greg Deneos of the world got it wrong when it came to baseball outfielders. Like, runs against him. Shut up. Hit me 40 bombs and 130 RBIs the way Bell and Ramirez and all those guys, Griffey and Bonds. Give me that.
How about let's bring it back for a second. And might be a little early to talk hockey right now, but do you think even the nerds got it wrong when it came to playing ice hockey for Nintendo, Dom? Like, do you need 4 fat guys out there, or do you need a couple of the super skinny guys that are faster? Like, when you're building your ice hockey team on original Nintendo, you get 4 players. What's your starting lineup?
As long as they have the last name of in it, I'm drafting them.
You're going. Well, you remember the game though? Like, you have the heavy guys, the medium guys, and the super skinny guys.
Yeah. Remember this game? Give me a Konstantinov. Give me a Kozlov. Give me a Fetisov. Give me a Russian of, and I'm drafting them. The analytics go out the window when you're fueled by a rage-filled Russian, a vodka rage Russian. There's no analytics in that. I mean, the guy down in Washington has been doing it for 20 years, and he's an absolute maniac.
Yes.
So what do we? I hope. And
listen, the hope? I've never heard you use that word before.
I hope and I wish that the analytic era of sports is on its way out.
Well, cyclical, right? Let's get back to it. Let's get back to using some guys up with some steroids. Let's do it that way.
Give me the wishbone offense. Give me the power eye offense. Oh. Give me 2 fullbacks on the field at one time. Just give me power on power.
I like that. Forget about organic meat. Drink out of the hose.
No, drink out of the hose. I think we need to get back to you know what? The boomers had it right.
You've always been saying that for years.
I've been saying it for years. I've always been on the boomers side. The boomers had it right.
All right. Along with things that I never thought I'd heard you say, rolling after that, let's bring it back to football for a second. Your Eagles roll a victory, 6-2, Dom. This team just keeps winning, and you started out by saying you are pissed off.
I think Nick Sirianni is just obsessed with putting certain plays on tape. It's the only logical explanation I have for the things he does. Is like, you know what? We want to put that on tape. Shut up. Give the ball to your fast 26. Let him run it in. Oh, you didn't get there? You see that skinny little guy right there? Have him kick it between those 2 yellow poles, and then you move on.
All right.
It ain't that, but no, you got to put 37 different looks on tape. Nobody cares, Nick. Nobody cares. You know what Andy Reid cares about? Stopping your best player. And if he can do that, he don't care what's on tape.
Last week at our podcast, you said that at 5-2, this was the most infuriating 5-2 team you could ever remember in history. After the big win, 28-23 over the Dougie Peas, is this the most frustrating 6-2 team?
What did I say? What did I say last year? It was like going to be a 19-15 game. It felt like it.
Yeah, right? It did.
It felt like it. It felt like a stupid score game, and the score was a little higher than I thought it'd be, but it was exactly how I thought it would be. This game, in a universe, was everything I hate about how Nick Sirianni's brain works. So I can't, man. And we talked about this. We went through the schedule, and we're like, okay, like we said they'd be 6-2. We were like, yeah, it's happening. We hate this team. It's a 6-2 team that's probably going to go 11-5 or 12-4 that we fucking hate. Because guess what? Dallas just got weaker, right? So that's 2 wins.
I mean, that's kind of redundant. They've been getting weaker all year. Week by week, they're falling apart. And I'm not sure if you're aware, Dom, but your fighting Philadelphia Eagles travel to Dallas next weekend to play those railing off the bandwagon Dallas Cowboys. It's the 425 game, too. Dom, this team, I don't want to burst your bubble over there, but Could this be the most frustrating 7-2 team you've ever been a part of?
They're going to win that game in the last drive. This is what's going to happen. Cooper Rush is going to throw for 280 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the Eagles are going to win on the last drive of the goddamn game because why wouldn't they?
Tom, any idea what state Cooper Rush went to college in?
Can I get a climate?
Can you get a climate? Oh, that's tough. I would say a lot of water.
Then I would say Michigan.
Got it. Yeah. I think we would be dynamite in password. I'm just saying out Michigan. There. I think we'd be dynamite.
Land of 1,000 lakes.
The Washington Commanders also, Dom, they keep winning, and that's a team that even we said it last week, we were not expecting what's happening down there in Washington to happen. But they win a big division game, 27-22 over the New York Giants. After the Cowboys game, the Philadelphia Eagles will host the Washington Commanders. What are your expectations of the Commanders, Dom, at this point right now? Where do you stand with that team in the NFC East?
We're 6-2, right?
We are 6-2.
We have 5 divisional games left, right?
Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes.
We're going to go 4-1 in those divisional games. So that's 10-3. That's a 10-3 team that's going to make me want to punch a hole in my drywall. And I don't understand why.
Well, let me just make sure I get there because some people out here have a 10.5 win ticket over. Just for the people. So if I'm at 10-3, if you're 4-1 holds up,
1-3 in the next 4.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. I'm at the Rams. I'm at the Ravens. I got the Steelers, and then I got the Carolina Panthers.
There you go. I mean, listen, they're going to go 4-1 in those division games. They're going to stomp the Panthers. The Ravens look like they're floundering a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I think and again, this could be back to how it used to be. The Ravens were known for lights out defense. The Ravens don't have a lights out defense, they really don't.
Depending on Lamar to throw them to victories, which I said he'll never be able to do.
I'm expecting a team. You would expect a Ravens team to at least have solid linebacking core. Some of the metrics driven anyway. Some of the worst linebackers in all of football right now. They're a Kyle Hamilton drop away from being elite. So that's a team that they are scoring points, and I do think that Derrick Henry adds an incredible element to that team, especially as it gets colder. That's only going to become more of a problem. But defensively, that team is not elite by any stretch. I got to tell you, I look at Dan Quinn. I look at the backwards hat. I love it. Dom, I look at that guy. He is, he's every man. Like, he's the guy. He was playing Tecmo Bowl back in the day. Like, brilliant coach, but like, he's just such a dad.
Dan Quinn or Dan Campbell?
No, Dan Quinn.
Okay.
Washington Commanders.
Because you're describing Dan Campbell, who I know you hate.
Oh, I hate Dan Campbell. I can't stand
describing Dan Campbell.
No. Dan Campbell is a meathead. Dan Quinn is like dad.
He's an everyman. He's a backwards hat wearing everyman. That's what
Dan Campbell is. You think Dan Campbell is?
Dan Campbell is the kind of guy who shows up to a camp out with just a couple cans of like beans. And then just like, that's all I need.
I'm not a fan. Not at all. I can't stand him. But that team, I believe as you were definitely on them, much more than I was. The Lions are the class of the NFC?
Yeah, it's got to be. Like I said last week, the reason why they're the class of the NFC is because they have an identity. They shove that identity down your throat, and they say, stop it.
One thing that kind of alarmed me with the Lions last week, and even though I thankfully did not play, I was really behind the Packers on that game. It was the first time we saw Detroit play outside in a climate that had a little bit of the elements to it. I mean, indoors, they've really proven everything they needed to. It was their first test outside in Lambeau in a heated division game, and they put it on them, man. Tip of the cap to Detroit right now, even without Aiden Hutchinson. That team is they're for real.
Yeah, I mean, if you put the Detroit Lions, I think not only the Detroit Lions are the class of the NFC, I think they're the class of the NFL, because I think that
over the Kansas City Chiefs, huh?
How could you say that Kansas City could stop them?
Oh, defensively? Oh, I absolutely think they could. I think
I
Kansas
don't
City's
see it.
defense is elite. I would take that bet. I would question more whether or not the Kansas City could score on them.
Well, that's what that was going to be my next point. It's like they're struggling to score points now. Yeah, they're winning games because they're winners and they know how to win. And Patrick Mahomes just has that fourth quarter referee magic. So could they score on Detroit? Maybe. Could Kansas City stop Detroit? Maybe for a half. That's the thing. Like, I think Detroit is so physical that it would be a tight game in the beginning, and then all of a sudden in that late third and fourth quarter, they just pound you into submission.
I think I would take the other side of that. I could see Kansas City hanging because I like the adjustments that I'm seeing from Andy and from Spags. They show up to games, even if they're not dominating, they're doing a really good job adjusting at halftime. I haven't seen Detroit need to adjust yet. Like you said, they've kind of owned their identity and this is who we are. So if Detroit gets into a situation where they either fall behind or need to make some adjustments, I haven't seen that yet. Not that they can't do it, but I would feel a little bit more comfortable calling Kansas City the class of the league right now.
I think that the Steelers actually match up better against the Lions than the Chiefs do.
That Steeler defense is for real, dude.
Yeah. And I would say right now, the way it looks, Steelers, Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, Lions, and God, there is really nobody that shines outside the Lions in the NFC right now. I mean, you would say the Eagles and Washington, but like.
Well, there it is. I mean, right now, Washington right now is the second seed. No, I don't feel good about that. I don't feel good about a rookie quarterback going into the playoffs and winning games. Not with that. I just don't. Your Falcons are your third seed. The Arizona Cardinals are the fourth seed. I mean, that does nothing for me at all. That win total is going to hurt. Minnesota, the
5-7 quarterback.
The Minnesota Vikings at 5. They're coming back to earth. The Philadelphia Eagles at 6 and the Packers at 7. I mean, it does seem like the Lions have a big stranglehold. And I would still argue, Dom, given everything that we know about Sirianni and the Eagles are the second best team in the NFC.
Yeah, you have to say it, which is infuriating. Because if the Eagles make the NFC Championship game, you're like, how? How did we do that?
Yeah, right.
How the hell did that happen? And if they played the Lions, I think the Lions would absolutely destroy the Eagles.
I do think the Eagles would have a problem with the Lions, yes.
They would have an absolute problem. But again, this season hasn't made any sense. So watch, the Eagles absolutely put it on the Lions, and you're still confused, and you're like, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl this year, and none of us are going to be happy about it. That's the way it's going to happen.
We're going to get on the podcast. Dom, what'd you think about the game? I'm pissed.
Fuck Nick Sirianni. I'm pissed. I can't believe he went for it on fourth down when we were up 38 points in the Super Bowl. Screw him.
I love it. The AFC, well, we talked about Kansas City right now as the 1 seed. Right now, Buffalo is the 2 seed at 7-2. Steelers at 6-2 are the 3rd seed. Your Houston Texans, 6-3 as the 4 seed right now. Also making the playoffs, Baltimore at 5. LA Chargers, the Fighting Hardballs at 6. And the Denver Broncos as the 7 seed.
Yeah, that Denver Bronco team is going to fall off quick, and I think we all know that.
Joe Burrow outside looking in at the moment. See a change there?
Yeah, I mean, they're too good.
Yep.
Listen, they got off to a rough start, but it's not like they're not scoring points. Like, Joe Burrow, he's Joe Burrow. Like, he's a good quarterback. And whenever you judge teams and playoff teams, the first thing you look at is your quarterback. So let's take a look at the quarterbacks of the teams that are in the AFC hunt. So who is 4, 5, 6, and 7?
You're looking CJ.
We'll take away the division leaders because they've earned that. Let's look at 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Well, you'd go 5, 6, and 7 because there's 4 divisions. Yep. So 5 is Lamar, 6 is Justin Herbert, 7 Bo Nix.
Yeah. So are you mean to tell me that Justin Herbert and Bo Nix can outpace Joe Burrow in an entire season? I don't think so. I just don't see it.
Nope, I don't think so either. Dom, how about this one? Can they outpace a Joe Flacco?
Is Joe Flacco elite? I feel like this is 2016.
But this is what you wanted. You wanted to go back in time. We got it, man.
We got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. Yeah, where's Ray Lewis when we need him?
I know. And speaking of quarterbacks not going the way we were hoping to, a little bit of a fallback to reality. I see maybe you got your Jameis jersey being dry cleaned this week.
Yeah, it's hanging up. Yeah,
it's a little bit of a rough week for your boy.
I actually have my Jameis jersey at church right now. It's getting the palm
That's
smacked.
right. Got the smudging happening in the house too.
I mean, listen. I think Jameis messed up by bringing God into football.
Okay.
This was God's way of saying, I got nothing to do with you, Jameis.
Yeah.
This is all you. I gave you talent. You use it.
Oh, we ain't got no decal.
We ain't got no deal.
That's my favorite one.
Play for the Browns.
Right now, the Baker Mayfields head into Kansas City tonight. They're a 9-point dog. With all the injuries happening in Tampa Bay, this also looks like a team that's kind of fallen off the wagon. And I don't know, maybe my under 7.5 has some legs with all these injuries. But that said, anything going for Tampa Bay tonight as they
cover. They cover.
They cover. Sure. They don't win.
I don't think they win, but they definitely cover.
Is it covering on? Is it a lower scoring game, higher scoring game?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those ugly, like again, like 22-18 win games.
Okay,
like one of those. They're going to cover.
Okay.
Listen, again, I say they're going to cover because they're hurt, but there's something about that team that they play rough, they play hard, and they're just not going to let Patrick Mahomes just walk all over them. I don't care who he is. And Baker Mayfield's going to have something to prove. I think this is his revenge tour season. Like, he got a contract and everybody said he didn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to go out there and prove everybody wrong. You want Baker Mayfield with a chip on his shoulder. A comfortable, happy Baker Mayfield is a lousy quarterback. Pissed off, I'm going to show you Baker Mayfield may be the MVP of the league.
Yeah, that I can't argue. I completely agree. And when you look at the contracts that were just handed out this offseason, like a Trevor Lawrence, like a Dak Prescott, you know, Baker Mayfield did not get that kind of money. And for him to play at the level that he is, he's outplaying those other contracts right now. So, and I think that does, in a way, add to that chip on his shoulder, kind of vibe.
Absolutely.
And without question, I loathe Baker Mayfield. But that thought of him having that chip on the shoulder coming on the field, I don't like it one bit. So you're right that if he gets to that place, he can be a tough out. And with all the reason to as well, right? You got no Mike Evans, you have no Chris Godwin. I mean, of course, you're not supposed to succeed when you lose all that talent. All the more reason to go out there and prove people wrong. That's who he's been.
Jacksonville didn't have all their players, and they covered.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good second half for the Jaguars there, too, making it a little interesting at the end, right?
Yeah, but Andy Reid's not Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, but yeah, I think they cover. And I think it's a late cover, too, to be honest with you. I think Baker gets him back in it late in the fourth quarter. They just run out of steam.
They kick the back door down.
Yep.
With this game on Sunday, Dom, as the Philadelphia Eagles travel to Dallas, what could happen in this game that's going to turn you around? What's going to make you a believer? What do you want to see out of this team?
Field goals. Taking the points when the points come to you. That's what's going to make me believe that this team has the direction to win the Super Bowl. Not just win a game, win the Super Bowl, because you have to take things as they come to you in the NFL. The other team is paid a lot of money to stop you. You are not paid money to stop yourself, okay? If the Eagles take all the points that they are given, I'll be like, okay, they at least understand how to win and how to win in the right way.
What the defense? Are we satisfied with the progress of how the defense has come along from week one?
I don't know if anybody can argue that this defense has played outstanding.
Right, yes.
Given what they had going into the season and all the question marks, especially a linebacker, Zach Bond has been...
He's been excellent.
He's been the MVP of the defense. It's crazy. And Nakobe Dean has lived up to what we thought Nakobe Dean could have been. I mean, he's getting better and better every week. And you did not expect him to make that interception.
Correct.
That's not a Nakobe Dean play, but here we are. And we got young defensive backs that are balling out right now. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. I mean, how could you not be excited about this young defense? I mean, the one area that I would say that we are woefully underperforming is our defensive line, which is what we thought would be the best part of our
strength.
defense.
Yeah. Jalen Carter showing you moments of brilliance, but it's not consistent. But yeah, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell are playing outstanding lockdown quarter status. Some help could be said in the safeties. There's a little bit of room for improvement to be had there. But at corner, where you spent your draft picks,
where's Slay at?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Where's Slay at?
The thought of this, and we've had this conversation before. You've always said, I don't want to say wasting, but you would never draft a running back in the first round of a draft.
Never.
When you watch Saquon Barkley play on this team and the role that he has he in any way made himself a valuable enough player to become a first-round pick, maybe even a first-round pick overall?
No, because the reason why Saquon is as good as Saquon is because he's playing with a line that is really, really good. And he's playing with an offense that is really, really good. If you are in a position to take a talent like Saquon high in the draft, your team probably sucks.
Yes.
And your line probably sucks, and your quarterback probably sucks.
Hashtag Giants.
Hashtag Giants. So he's a talent that would be wasted. I am a big proponent of you draft in the trenches and you buy your talent. He is a talent. He's not a trenches guy. You buy that. You can get cheap talent off of really crappy teams that can't afford that talent. So that's where when I look at like where do we need our talent from, I would go to the Jacksonvilles of the world and say, hey, listen, you're 1-14. You can't afford Christian Kirk. Well, he'd be the third receiver on our team. You get your talent.
Would you be a proponent of what happens in the Premier League where you can like rent players for half a year and then send them back once it's done?
That'd be interesting.
Right? Like Tyreek Hill's not going to the playoffs, but let's say that we cover the rest of his salary for this year and then he goes back to Miami next year, but just for this little run, let me grab Tyreek for a little bit. And it'll cost me
with a little caveat that you can do that, but then you lose maybe your first round draft pick.
Yeah, or not even like there's some sort of compensatory thing. Maybe it's just money, whatever the case is. But
no, I think you got to make it worth like super worth it. Like, hey, listen, you want to make this run, you want to borrow this guy for the rest of the year,
right?
If you borrow this guy, not only do you have to pay his salary, but you have to give the other team your first rounder.
Why not? Right? But then you're also risking the fact, what if Tyreek blows out his knee and he's done forever?
Done forever.
You know what I mean? So the whole thing, maybe I wonder if this kind of works into the league at all where
you know what that is? Mayhem.
I love it. And we kind of have that too with DeAndre Hopkins heading over to Kansas City, Deontay Johnson now with the Baltimore Ravens. So it'll be interesting to watch those offenses develop with, like you said, that newfound bought talent.
Again, is DeAndre Hopkins really going to make a difference?
He could. He has enough talent.
When Julio Jones came to the Eagles, did he make a difference?
He was a threat.
Listen. Hats off to D-Hop. He had a great career. He old, man. He old. When Odell signed with the was it the Ravens last? Mm-hmm. Did he make a difference?
The Rams.
Well, no, he actually did well with the Rams. I'm saying after the Rams, after he got hurt.
Then he went to Baltimore. You're right. Yeah,
Baltimore, Baltimore got Odell, and I'm like, right. He's old and broken, man. He's done. He's cooked.
You know what? You can say that, but I'll tell you what, man. T.O. shows up, I sign him right now.
T.O. will give you 3 great plays.
I love it, and I'm here for all 3 of them. Here for all 3.
Drop 2 of them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is about all the time we have here on the episode of Metrics and Mayhem. We'll be back next week, Dom, on Monday. Same bad time, same bad place.
R.I.P. Quincy Jones.
Yeah, how about that one, man?
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, a lot of music there. There's for the maybe not the trained musicians out there. There's a couple of recordings of Michael Jackson's demo tapes on YouTube that he sent to Quincy Jones. You can listen to him play back. Like you'll hear Thriller on there, you'll hear PYT, like what Michael Jackson put together, and then you obviously listen to the one that Quincy put together. Just kind of a little bit of insight to the mastery of what Quincy had going.
My favorite Quincy Jones story, and it actually is a story that came out recently, is when Michael Jackson beat the shit out of Tupac because Tupac disrespected Quincy Jones's niece or daughter or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, like Tupac was dating Quincy Jones's daughter or something like that, and they were all at a party, and Tupac said something stupid to her, and Michael Jackson was like, "Yo, that's like my niece. You can't talk to her that way." And Tupac was like, screw you, Mike, blah, blah, blah. And then Michael Jackson apparently beat the shit out of Tupac.
Really?
For disrespecting Quincy Jones's daughter.
Wow.
Or somebody. Yeah. The story just came out recently in the last like a month.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, you have to Google that. Google Quincy Jones, Tupac, Michael Jackson.
Real quick, before we let you go, I'll do that. Before we let you go, I saw some Lenny Kravitz posted on your story.
Lenny Kravitz, yeah, me, Mama Dukes, my sister, and my sister's best friend Barb. We all went. Me and three old ladies.
Good time.
What's that?
Good time.
Oh, Lenny Kravitz is one of my favorite of all time.
Yeah,
and he sounds at 60 years old.
Is he 60? Oh my gosh,
he's 60 with a six pack, and like 20-year-olds just go,
yeah,
exactly like his albums. Like,
excellent.
40 years ago, he recorded something. He sounds exactly the same.
Amazing.
It's insane how good he is.
Amazing. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, Dom, way to get out there and support the arts, man. All good stuff. Always a pleasure to be here with you. And we will run it back like we do next week, brother.
I'll see you later, buddy.
Everybody have a good one.
Jabbo wins.